Hello and welcome to the Carte Blue podcast post-match reaction, sponsored by NordVPN. I'm your host, Dan Rolinson, joined by Mat Kendrick. And that intro music, Matt, is much more fitting after a positive win at Villa Park, is it not?
Oh, you've done it again, haven't you? Just start, rather than people commenting on our wonderful opinions and stuff, they're just going to all be slagging off the music again, aren't they?
Guess what?
It's quite jaunty, isn't it? So I think it does suit a victory better than a defeat. It's quite jaunty and lively. So I'm not dancing to it yet, though, Dan. It's not. I'm on the Madrid, so I might be by the end. By the time we finish,
do the outro. I do a little hum myself before it starts. I mean, the previous music was quite jaunty for a crap defeat as well. So let's not start that conversation. Right, Aston Villa beat Chelsea. I'm sure there'll be lots of people thinking similar than I am, but we won't dwell on it too much. If we just beat Ipswich, how irritating. But a good week for Villa, I suppose you could say. 5 points in a week with Ipswich, Liverpool and Chelsea. As Simon in the comments says, we're now safe from relegation. That classic Villa fan thing to say as we cross the 40-point threshold, which, let's face it, it's about 30 points these days. Just as an overall, before we get into the specifics of tonight, when we talked about this run of 3 games, we talk about Villa needing to find some kind of form, finish the season strongly. If we want to get top 5, then we need to do this and we need to do that. I'd have been okay with 6 points this week in the thinking of beating Ipswich, beating Chelsea and maybe losing to Liverpool. Kind of take no shame in that. So to come away with 5 isn't terrible, but I wanted 6. I was hoping for 7, and in another world maybe we get 9. But how do you feel kind of now we've got through it and we go to Palace now, our first away game for the new boys on Tuesday? Is 5 all right? Are you okay with it?
Typical you thing, that is, isn't it? Always wanting more. I reckon if we'd have got 9, you'd have wanted 10. Listen, you're probably thinking that the 7-point return would be good, aren't you? Really, from that, you're probably thinking the point against Liverpool, and you're beating Chelsea, and you're beating Ipswich. So being greedy, I'd have wanted 7. I think the good thing about it, if we're looking at positives, we won the game, but we this record at Villa Park, we're still so difficult to beat at Villa Park, which I think is encouraging. The fact that we've got an FA Cup game coming up there. We've got another Champions League game coming up there. And we're approaching the business end of the season where you back any of the remaining teams that are coming to Villa Park that we should be able to beat.
The ones around us are coming to Villa Park as well.
Yeah,
like Newcastle,
beating the Premier League as well. So it's weird, isn't it? Because nobody really, with the exception of Liverpool, is really making a statement to say we actually want to go and achieve things in the Premier League this season. We're still bobbing around now, aren't we? Those 3 points, I know our games played puts us at a disadvantage now, and these people with games in hand on us. But we're now back in the mix, whereas a couple of weeks ago we're thinking this could drift, this could start to drift, and it may yet do if people win those games in hand. But I think at the end of a week of 3 home games, I'm pretty satisfied, to be honest. I thought the entertainment value on Wednesday night was brilliant. Yeah. I didn't think we'd find a way to win tonight because I thought we were pretty poor. I thought Chelsea did a really good job on us first half. The fact we've won now, that win and that performance against Liverpool almost relegates the Ipswich disappointment. We can forget about that now and move on with our lives.
Yeah, just about. I mean, if we go to a tricky place to go on Tuesday and beat Crystal Palace as well, I think you can certainly put Ipswich in the rear view mirror. But yeah, it still stings just a little bit. Just as you just think like, if only we'd be in the top 5 or potentially even the top 4, wouldn't we, if we had have beaten them last week? But that's the trade-off, isn't it? Me and my dad were saying on the way back, and again, it's a little bit of like just trying to kind of cope with the situation, if you like. Well, we didn't expect that result to happen. If we do that in a positive way, in a different result compared to last season, for example, we lost at the Etihad. If we win at the Etihad this season, that's kind of ahead of, we expect to beat Ipswich and maybe lose at the Etihad. We've drawn at home. We've got an odd result, and maybe that puts you back on track. But that's obviously for another time. Let's try and keep this as chronological as possible and start with the starting 11. Any surprises in there for you, or was that as you expected? So I suspect not.
I think having 2 centre halves playing was a pleasant
surprise. For long.
I was a little bit surprised that Maatsen started. To be honest, I thought it was a case of getting the band back together and going for with Cash at right back, Konsa, Mings at centre half, Martinez in goal. I thought he could have completed the set, but I think his reason for doing that was because he'd started with Ramsey instead of Rashford. So he wanted Maatsen as that attacking threat, I suppose, to help Ramsey. He's not. Whereas Rashford is quite a touchline hugger. Ramsey's not, is he? Ramsey drifts a little bit more. So I presume that was his thinking for Maatsen. Didn't really work that way. Maatsen didn't really get forward that much, certainly first half.
And defensively, still quite big concerns for me that he's not at the level required at the moment.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been surprised to see him taken off at half time, to be honest. And he was up against a tricky customer in Neto. And I think, as silly as it sounds, it's probably the worst player that Villa could have encountered in a way, because you've got Mings, who clearly wasn't fit, as we saw, and was creaking. You got Konsa coming back. I don't think he was 100%. And they'd have probably preferred to play against a big ugly lump, so they could just kind of jump in the air and head the ball away. But I think because Neto's movement was brilliant, he was non-stop first half, so I think that made it awkward. I don't think Maatsen's been the same player. I think it was at Arsenal where he was caught out a little bit, and I could see him shrinking confidence that day. And I think since then, I don't know. It's a really interesting one. The fella next to me thinks that we might sell him in the summer.
No, I'll be surprised about that.
And potentially move him on. I'm not sure whether that's the case yet, but at the moment he's not going down in history, but he's in the books as a player who's not living up to his potential, because we expected great things from him from what he did with Dortmund previously, and he just hasn't been able to sustain that. And I know it's difficult when you're dipped in and out, but squad football now, lots of players are dipped in and out, and you've got to be able to deliver.
Yeah,
whenever you're called upon, really.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think there is a player in there. There's clearly some talent. He's still young. I think he's still learning what Emery wants from him, and a couple of shaky performances is enough to knock your confidence, and you kind of spiral a little bit. At the moment, he's not at the level, and Dean is much the better option, but we're in that position now at this time of the season. Luka Dean can't play every single minute of every single game in every competition, so Maatsen needs to step up his game basically, because he will probably play against Cardiff next week, for example, and obviously a different level. But you know what I mean. We're going to need him, so you back him. I'd be surprised if we sold him in the summer, but that's a conversation for another day. Let's touch on Mings quickly. There's a comment from King81 who says Mings has clearly been playing through the pain barrier for the last few weeks, which has now ended up with him barely able to run. Total legend, putting his body on the line. And we spoke on whatever game it was when Mings came on for Kamara, when he was on the bench, probably unexpectedly played in that game. You wouldn't expect Kamara to come down injured in the first 15 minutes. And that kind of thing of like, or is he on the bench because he's ready, or is he on the bench as kind of if we need him for 5 or 10 minutes, he gets thrown into the game? And I was kind of looking for signs of, well, he's not ready, because if he was, he starts over Kamara because Kamara's a midfielder. And since then, he's played because we've needed him and hasn't looked right to me. And I've spoken about this on the preview as well. There's just something about him that looks off. And again today, not good, looks uncomfortable, looks awkward, looks... I don't know. I feel quite sorry for him in a way when he came off with whatever injury it was, and it looked. I mean, they got Bogard ready to come on, and he was like, I was kind of looking at Emery like, no, almost like, give me a chance, I can get back on here, like I'm okay. And just something about it, almost like, I don't know, too proud to kind of admit defeat, that time's up kind of thing. And I said to the guy next to me, 10 minutes he'll be off. Because we saw it a few weeks ago, didn't he? Before he got injured, he came on, and then a few minutes later, he was down again. And absolutely love the bloke. I agree with the comment. Putting his body on the line, been here through the journey that we've been on, etc., and still will, if he can keep himself in some kind of fitness. We will need him, but it just looks like his body's done to me at 31, 32, whatever he is. And I didn't expect this to be a bit of a down in the first 10 minutes, but I just wonder if we're starting to see the end of not even just Mings at Villa, but just Mings' career. I don't know if his body can hold up for the level we're at now. This is a real shame.
This is taking a turn, isn't it?
I didn't think this was
going to be Tyrone Mings' career obituary. I thought we were just going to come and celebrate us being back in the race for European football.
Sorry,
I wouldn't go quite as far as that, because the fact that he's made it back on the pitch, Premier League, Champions League, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to talk him out of the team for when we play Bruges. I know. I can see. I can
I
see where
know.
you're.
I'd love him to
going with
I'd love
this.
him to play in that and score the winner and be the hero again. I mean, he might play and start on Tuesday and be great again, but he just doesn't look right to me.
I don't think you write off Tyrone Mings. I tell you what, I was annoyed. I was a little bit annoyed with him today because I don't think he did it for selfish reasons. I don't think he did it out of ego. I think he did it because he does care and he's Villa through and through and he wants to help the team. I don't think it was necessarily that helpful in terms of, I think when the original injury occurred, I think he probably should have gone off then, because ultimately, you know, the faffing about whether he's going on or staying off meant that there was almost like a kind of stoppage in play. The ball was still alive.
And
The stoppage in play,
isn't he, for a period
for 2 minutes while we're trying to work out what's going on. And I think it probably just would have helped to, you know, Bogart's obviously fired up and ready to come on and that kind of thing. And then Mings, God bless him. Mings has got that injury. He's not feeling at his best. So what does he do? He thinks he's kind of Pau Torres or Franz Beckenbauer and goes on a burst through the middle, loses the ball. He's like, well, just play the
even if you're 100%, you're probably not the best time to try that. Never mind when you're probably less than 50.
Yeah, so it was that, and I thought Bogart did well when he comes on. I think Bogart is the ultimate even in a no frills footballer. He's just super efficient, and in my mind, and this is not supposed to be at a time when you're wanting to write Tyrone Mings' career obituary and say nice things about him. It's not supposed to be a massive criticism of Mings, but I thought when Bogart came on in the second half, he just did the basics really well. I think Mings, because he knows he's playing in Emery's system, thinks he's got to be the one who can advance the ball forward and play the probing pass. And, you know, whereas I think Bogart just thought, get it, do the basics, give it to the fullbacks, give it to Tielemans, give it to McGinn, and let them go and do it. And I think that helped a little bit. Listen, the whole team was much better second half anyway, so it's probably easier to play in that environment than it was first half when Chelsea were clearly in the ascendancy. But I don't think it's the end of Tyrone Mings. I think he's faced bigger challenges. I think they probably wouldn't have wanted or expected to have brought him back in such a full-on way.
Yeah.
But the nature of the beast, with all the injuries, they've had to. And I think it's credit to Mings that he hasn't been right in probably any of the last 3 games, but he's still, like I said, it's a bit like the James Chester syndrome, isn't it? Kind of putting his body on the line. I think, what did Bruce used to call Chester tough as teak? I think he used to say, like, kind of really old school, doesn't matter, I'm here to, you know, bandage me up and get me back on there. And I think Mings epitomises that as well. Yeah. I think we'll see him come through this setback, and at a time when Villa are able to ease him back in gently, I think that will help him heal. And I still think he's got a part to play. I hope so anyway.
Yeah, I absolutely hope so as well. Vanessa says, bloody hell, we just beat Chelsea. Why so down? I mean, that was a talking point that we had to do anyway, so we could either have like 30 minutes of positivity and then end on a downer, or we could just do it now and move on, which is what we're going to do. Jay says, we're without Torres and Kamara, potentially our 2 best players, and we beat Chelsea. The signs are so good. I'm inclined to agree with that. Not specifically like Torres is the best or Kamara or whatever, but we're kind of we're going about our business like without any fuss, without any complaints or whining or whatever. Bogart has to come in to replace Mings, a youngster with very little experience. All right, well, he'll do the job and crack on. Matty Cash comes up back in, but Garcia can come on and just crack on with it, lads. Go and do your thing. And we're kind of getting through these games. And yes, it's like, oh, if only we'd have done this, only we'd have done that. But we are missing players and we are struggling and we're creaking and we're tired. And Morgan Rogers is playing every single minute. Tielemans and McGinn playing every single minute as the only midfielders. Like, we're really kind of giving everything here. And I don't know, we're too kind of like definitive on how this season's going to go. But whatever happens here, this group have kind of given their everything. This isn't a downing tool situation. It's not a lack of ability or whatever. We're just kind of going through the challenges thrown at us, and by and large, we're handling them pretty admirably, aren't we? Really.
Yeah, I think like I say, back on Bogart again. I just think sometimes we can underestimate or forget that. I've said this before, but people aren't just walking into a team that is playing in the Championship or that was avoiding swirling the plug hole of relegation under Dean Smith and Steven Gerrard and stuff. We're playing kind of at elite level now. We're playing in the Champions League knockout stages. We're playing at the top, the top third, should we say, of the Premier League. That's not easy. So he might not come in and be doing really kind of noticeable things, but the fact that he's doing things that he's not doing noticeable things wrong suggests that he's actually up to the level. And I think that's an amazing thing for somebody who's got, a handful of top flight appearances under their belt to come in and not feel fazed by it, playing not in his strongest position, but just saying, yeah, you can trust me, Gaffer, put me in and I'll do a job for you. And you're right, that happens all over the place. And that's what I was saying about Maatsen earlier, that you don't really, when you're competing on this many fronts, you don't really have the luxury of saying that you're going to get an 8-game run in the team. You might only get 20 minutes for a month, but that 20 minutes has got to be bang on, because that 20 minutes could be getting you through to the next round of the cup competition or winning a really important match in the Premier League. And I think there is definitely, and it's been a ragged season in terms of it's not been swashbuckling all the way. Let's get that in there. But I think you can't question the spirit of the group.
No,
really.
That's what I mean by there's a comment from Carl says, disagree, Dan. If we lose tonight, the fight for top 6 was over. I don't think we're getting through without a fuss at all. It's a slog. It is. I mean, we're not getting through without a fuss, as in we're flying through games easily. I mean, we're just kind of cracking on with the task ahead of us as best we can. And sometimes that is being dragged into a battle and having to suffer a little bit and whatever else. And absolutely with you, when we go 1-0 down with their first shot on target again for what feels like the 25th game this season, you kind of think, it's happening again. Like, we're struggling, we're creaking to us, as far as we can get away with. And Chelsea can, not being on great form at the moment, but can punish teams, and that's going to be us today. And we're not going to find a way to turn it around. I was getting fully prepared to come on this and be talking about, it's three draws in a row. It just doesn't get you anywhere, does it? What's the point of this? But we found a way to get through it, and that probably brings us nicely to potential man of the match options. I'm sure we'll do that in a second. But the signings that we've made in the winter window to come and kind of win now, if you like, Rashford and Asensio have changed the game. Now, we'll talk about Asensio in a second as the match winner scoring both. But Rashford comes on, looks sharp again. Ramsey gets the nod for the start and comes off at half-time, rightly so, in my opinion. A very different player to Rashford, but you talk about kind of taking your chance, and not just on Ramsey, because the first half wasn't good, but Ramsey hasn't, and Rashford has come on and got 2 assists. So it's Rashford's shirt again. So, the business that we've done in the winter window is for the here and now, and those 2 signings have got us 3 points against Chelsea, and that could kickstart a run to go on. And this is why we do the business we've done. So, I mean, I suppose we can't really talk about both of those without speaking about the man of the match. So let's just kind of get that out of the way, shall we?
It's everybody's favourite section. It's time for the Man of the Match award, and we're going to pick our top 3 in order. And if there wasn't 3 good players, it's a bit of tough isn't it?
The Funky J says, I love the fact Emery doesn't tiptoe around making half-time subs, just admits it's not working and changes things. Agreed. Like, not kind of realising that what's happened so far isn't working, either through design or, that something's happened during the game, and having to change it is, I don't want to say brave or bold, but again, crack on. If that's what we've got to do, go and do it. And those changes have obviously changed the game. Just give me your thoughts on, let's start with Asensio, the goal scorer. He's got to be number 1, hasn't he, for man of the match shout? So he's got 2 goals against Chelsea, not get man of the match.
Yeah, I think he has. Although, I'm probably going to fly in the face of popular opinion here. I thought he was disappointing in the first half, and I thought it was. We know that down that right side this season, we've had Cash, who's been injured a lot of the time, in and out. We've had Bailey, who's been nothing like the Bailey that we came to expect last season. So once we made this kind of flurry of signings in January, we got, obviously Rashford was always going to play off the left, but we got Marlon to put pressure on Bailey. We've got Asensio, who can probably drift in any of the forward positions, to be honest. What frustrated me today was that because you were trying to accommodate Rodgers and Asensio, none of them is naturally a kind of going to play super wide on the touchline. I felt that we were so blunt down our right hand side that I'm thinking, well, we'd made signings to solve this issue, and we can't. I don't think we had too much joy down there at all. So I think I was a little bit frustrated in that. And I'm not blaming Asensio, but I think Chelsea played through us too easily. It almost seemed like they got all the space in the world, and we got none at all when we tried to, a bit like Liverpool did, when we tried to get those passing lanes into Asensio. I don't think we got him on the ball enough.
Yeah, especially in the middle. They're kind of extra man. You look around and go, McGinn and Tielemans are deep, our forwards are high, because that's where they want to be, and they've got all the time in the world to basically do what they want. And in the first half, with the help of the referee letting everything go, they're running the game, aren't they? Their midfield, they're kind of basically controlling what happens and what doesn't, and had that sense of, well, Chelsea have come here, done a job on us because they're running the show, and that's on Villa to fix and tweak. And you're right. I think I wouldn't highlight particularly by saying like Asensio was poor.
I'd give the man of the match based on the second half.
Yeah, exactly. I think they were all poor in the first half. Yeah.
Because I thought Ramsey was one of our best players in the first half, and I know why we've made the change, and it's paid off. I don't think
he was that good,
but I don't think anybody was that good. But I think he was less bad than most. So I fully understand why he's made the change. I thought Martin was lucky to not be hauled off at half time, if I'm being honest. But I think Chelsea did do a job on us. I thought Reece James did a job on us first half. I thought very kind of steady, but I think he was able to dictate play more than our midfield. But yeah, I think if we agree that we'll do a man of the match based on
man of the second half, basically.
Yeah, so man of the second half, sponsored by NordVPN. I'd put the subs in there. I'd have, in no particular order, I'd have Asensio, I'd have Rashford, I'd have Bogart in there, just because he did his very basic no frills job. I thought there's a couple of times when Neto looked like he was going to escape, and Bogart went across and got good interceptions and interventions. I'll put those three in, and I'd probably have a shout for McGinn as well.
I
thought he was solid pretty much throughout, to be honest. Those would be my four, but I don't know whether you'd agree and what order you'd put them in.
I'd have Asensio top because he scored the goals. I'd have Rashford seconds because he provided both assists for goals, and he's dangerous and he's an outlet and he stretches teams, and we brought him in to do that. And that's what he's doing so far, and he was deserving against the start against Liverpool. I thought he'd start again tonight. Doesn't, but comes off the bench and affects the game, and will start against Palace. And that, we talk about that being a difficult game, but if Palace play, it would be Rashford's first away game for Villa. He's got pace, maybe he can stretch it, and that makes it a different proposition for Villa. So he's absolutely, feels like crucial already, which feels mad. I've given he's only played a handful of games, but like in offering us a different way of playing, I think Rashford is that important. I get what you're saying about Bogart, and he'd be in there with the shout as well. But I think McGinn, and a lot of the comments suggest McGinn as well. I don't think we get either of the results today or Liverpool without McGinn's energy, work rate, captain qualities, whatever the word is, leadership, and just kind of like just being there, dependable, reliable, does the basics. Yes, gave the ball away a couple of times against Liverpool, blah blah blah. But I think does jobs that go unnoticed, in a weird way, to highlight him as a potential for man of the match. Somebody earlier in the comments said Asensio did nothing besides score the 2 goals. I always find that a little bit strange. We scored 2 goals though that won the game. Like, does it matter that they did nothing besides score? Do you know what I mean? Like, scoring goals is pretty hard to say they did nothing but score the goals. Well, he did 2 really good things that cost us 3 points, but forget all of that. He did nothing. I always find that strange.
I think if you can have a party piece in football, then scoring goals is not a bad party piece to have.
He did nothing but win against Everton or whoever. It's like, you wouldn't say, well, he scored a banger, but besides that, he did nothing. Well, we won the game for us. So I kind of get it. And I agree with what you said, like not being spectacular in the first half, whatever. But in the second half, he's helped us win the game. So one says Martinez did nothing except a couple of saves. Yeah, exactly. I think it's just a weird kind of football analysis, basically.
Yeah, listen, I'm comfortable with our however many we've chosen. I thought Konsa did okay as well, because I don't think he was quite right.
Yeah.
So I think in the circumstances, I thought he did okay. But yeah, we only needed 3 anyway, and I'll end up.
A couple of shouts of Bogarty and says big respect for him. Erdington's finest says Bogard deserves a shout amongst all the headline grabbers. Asensio and Rashford are obviously in the title of this episode. Seems to always get thrown in the deep end, but does well. I agree, and I think for almost the novelty factor of it, there's probably going to be less chances for Bogard to be nominated for the man of the match throughout the rest of the season, and again, he's going to be playing. So let's go Asensio top, Rashford second, and Bogard as almost a shout out, almost like a weird honourable mention for like, well done, son, you've come in and done a decent job.
I don't want this to become Clubman of the Year. I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be that really. When my daughters first started playing football, and they had a kind of a player of the match trophy, and it had no bearing on who the player of the match was. It was, as every girl had it now. Yeah, okay, we can go around.
We took my son to a football thing, and when he first started, football, very little football involved, but they do like a couple of picks for player of the week or whatever, and he got it on the first week, and that's pretty cool. And every week it's been since, the new kid gets it every single time. So okay, no, it means absolutely nothing.
That's what we've done. We give it to the new kids. We give it to Rashford and Asensio, haven't we? So once they've won it once, we'll have to wait till the next signing in the summer.
Yeah. I don't know how chronologically we're doing this, because we just kind of touched on the goals in a roundabout way by just speaking about Asensio and Rashford changing the game. Do you want to talk through the goals specifically, or are you not that bothered about that?
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember them. I tell you what, and again, this is the credit to the fella sitting next to me, but I suppose anybody with eyes would
get him on the podcast instead.
Yeah, get him in. Matty Cash is better crossing the ball with his left foot than he is with his right.
I know, yeah.
When he cuts in and either kind of drifts or floats or a little bit of whip curl on that one to the back post, I'm probably only talking about a couple of examples. Probably talking the goal at Arsenal.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of
today. There's been a couple more as well, I think. But I don't know. Does the goal lead me on to a kind of referee and linesman rant again? Now that's the.
Where's the referee bad klaxon that we spoke about last episode? When just flash something up. Bad referee alert. Bad referee alert.
I need to put it on this channel. We always get refs.
Let's not forget Michael Oliver is supposedly one of the best that the Premier League has. So I mean, that says absolutely everything you need to know for the rest of them.
Do you know, with Michael Oliver, he almost gives the impression that
Jamie Oliver.
Very good.
I need that from a comment, to be fair.
Michael Oliver always gives the impression to me that he almost thinks you're lucky to have me here. You're lucky that I'm down here with my presence, and he gives, he just gives off that vibe. And listen, I'm in danger of having this becoming a section. This kind of referee rant.
That's fine.
You by NordVPN.
I'll get on the graphics team.
That's it, yeah. But it was just that kind of almost like a smugness about him, really. And listen, I think he was clearly onside. God bless.
Was it? I haven't seen it back. Or are you joking? Was it really tight?
No, I've watched it back, and I couldn't with the naked eye, or the naked chef, as we were talking about a minute ago.
That's a very mid-2000s reference, isn't it?
I know, yeah. Ask your granddad. With the naked eye, I couldn't tell, but when I've come back and watched the highlights on YouTube, and he's definitely on. So good ball by Cash. Good. I thought it was pretty good by Rashford, because it took a nick off the defender to actually get something on that to redivert the ball. It's gone a little bit behind Asensio, but he's managed to adjust himself and knock it in the net. And all of a sudden, you think, well, actually, we might actually go on and do something here. So I thought that goal was good. I thought the winning goal, it was just hilarious, wasn't it? Just it squirming through, like it was almost like a ghost goalkeeper, wasn't it? It like went through his body as if he
should absolutely be saying. We said it for a goal recently, didn't it? It was a Spurs game potentially. I can't remember. Obviously, absolutely take it from our point of view, but you look at
Ramsey scored one, didn't he? I think did Ramsey score one?
Yeah,
when was that?
Ramsey did score, against Spurs, was it? I think, and I don't know whether that. Yeah, I think that was the one where the keeper got a sizable hand to it, and then just go straight through him. And the same again tonight. I mean, for the amount of money that Chelsea spent to not have a kind of, I don't know, world-class goalkeeper and centre forward is a massive failing on their part, particularly in goal. Whoever they put out, whatever option they go with is a poor one, and he obviously should be doing better with that. But from our point of view, don't care at all. Just on the offside one, I've not seen anything back. It was flashed up on the big screen. I was very confused, and the people around me are the same. That we thought that Rashford had poked it in from where we were, that Asensio hadn't got on the end of it. And then it was our VAR check and no decision or no offside, Rashford or Rashford 9 or whatever. Oh, Rashford's first goal. Like, what a way to get it, having to wait for the delay. And I was like, oh no, the VAR thing was to say that Rashford wasn't doing something wrong, and then the goal was actually by Asensio. You could see from where we were that he actually got on the end of it, just poked into the far post from Rashford directly. And they flash it up on screen, and I was thinking, well, he can't be offside because it nicked off the Chelsea defender anyway. But it was the ball before that, and I've not seen it back apart from on the big screen at the stadium, which is obviously miles away from where we are. Really, even with my glasses on, I can barely see it. So if it was on, great. If it was off, whatever. If it was tight, it seemed to take ages. What annoyed me with that, linesman stuck his flag up immediately, which in the end was wrong. The other side, when it's Chelsea, blatantly offside by yards, flag stays down, play on, and then stick it up when they've had their shot or whatever it is. I don't get that inconsistency. I never understand it. There's got to be some kind of rule change or implemented about I don't know how you judge this in real time, but if they're offside by more than a metre or something, flag. If it's tighter than that, let it go. Like, I don't know. Some of them seem so obvious you think he's miles off, just flag it, and they don't. The other way, when it's actually wrong, whoosh, straight up.
Yeah, I moan a lot about everything, but I moan a lot about referees and linesmen. But do you think we're in danger of becoming a bit Arsenal fan TV if we always think that there's kind of an agenda against us? I don't think there is. I don't think there is. The hell out. I don't think the officials are thinking, right, I'm going to stitch up Aston Villa today. I don't think there's any conspiracy theories, but it just feels like it in that moment, doesn't it?
I think they make bad decisions for the opposite team as well.
Yeah, like, I don't mind those ones.
No, I don't. For some reason, that doesn't hurt me as much. But it's just a crap standard, and we've spoken about it for probably 5 years on this podcast. Like it's just so bad, isn't it? And if this is supposedly the best we've got, I mean, we were speaking a little bit by the people around us about the Champions League fixtures and if it's Liverpool in the quarters, does that kind of did we want a European side basically? And it was like, well, kind of if it is Liverpool, we'll back it, we'll back us against them in a two-legged affair, and we'll have massive fireworks for the return leg. But also the referees, different. These big sides, these traditionally big sides, always get these 50-50 decisions. There was one that Rashford didn't get. It didn't get a corner. It was given a goal kick. And from where I was, it looked like he left it because he knew it was going to be a corner. It was given as a goal kick. And it's like, do they not think of like the context? Like, if he knows it's a goal kick, he wouldn't leave it, would he? So, you crack on and you must assume it's a corner. My dad said,
don't you think Rashford should wear a reversible shirt though? Should have a Man United shirt inside?
Well, exactly. Exactly that. My dad was like,
against him, he just plays that. It's almost like a Joker card. He plays that. Oh, sorry, Marcus. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, yeah, you used to play for Man United, so you do actually get decisions. And my dad was like, he won't be used to being on the wrong side of 50-50s like that. But yeah, it's just that frustration of these English refs kind of. It seems favouring the big sides in 50-50s that a Liverpool or a Chelsea or a Man United get those decisions seemingly more so than the smaller side. If we do get Liverpool, England on England in the Champions League, it'll be a European ref, and they seem to be better than the ones we have in the Premier League. So that's a leveller in an all Premier League clash. We're getting well ahead of ourselves here when we've not even beat Bruges. But the point is, the referees in England are terrible. And the ones in the Europe aren't brilliant, but by and large, they've been better in the European games, in my opinion.
I was chatting to our colleague the other day, Joe Rimmer, who's the head of sport for Liverpool, and he's a big Liverpool fan. And I was moaning about Craig Pawson, and he was saying, "Oh, it's so easy to moan about refs, and nobody's done the job," and which I get a little bit of that. And I said, "Well, that's fine, but you." You support a big club who gets these decisions, so you're probably not going to moan about them as much as me. But I do take the point. I don't think it's an easy job. I don't think.
No, I'm not saying it is easy, but be better then.
Anyway, Moving on. What else do you want to talk about?
Yeah, moving on. Andy says, we are a big club. Let me just clarify. Yes, I agree. We are a big club. I mean, big club in the sense of Man United, Chelsea, Spurs, the big six. They're the ones that get the decisions more so than the lesser clubs in the eyes of that pesky national media.
Do you remember the marketing campaign about the kit that we had in 2015-16, the year we got relegated? That was like a big club. All the marketing was around that. Do you remember? And then
it rings a bit of a bell. It didn't go well, did it? That I don't think.
It spectacularly backfired as our yellow.
Is that the one where it was all like handwritten?
Yeah. As our yellow QuickBooks shirts took us down. But we are a big club. We're back. Can I ask you a question about the chants? So Rashford has inherited John Duran's chant, and now Asensio has inherited Coutinho's chant.
Mm-hmm.
It feels a bit weird to me, and I know with the McGinn, we've joked in the past about McGinn. You know, he was
everybody's man.
He's been everybody's man, hasn't he? You know, he's got about a bit, to be honest. Sticking out his big bottom on football pitches everywhere. Where am I going with that? But it just feels weird, like having those chants.
Do you think it's because it's so soon after?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Forget that. If it was that we'd kind of brought back a chant from, I don't know, John Carew, let's say, John Carew's days, it'd be a bit like, that was John Carew. I mean, I actually feel like that might be weirder because that's more definitively his.
Yeah.
But there's enough distance past that, okay, it's time to tweak it. But, you know, we were literally singing the Duran chant like, I don't know, 6 weeks ago or something, and it's already Rashford's. I kind of get what you're saying, but I also quite like the, I don't know, the recycling and the proactive nature of the whole Entico. We've actually already got 2 pretty good chants there. Should we just keep them? Can we use them again?
It's a little bit like I don't know whether you'll get this reference, but it's a little bit like a kind of. Have you ever heard the Horrible Histories parody songs? So they kind of parody a song that you kind of recognise it, so you know enough about it, but it just feels a little bit weird. But yeah, I suppose the good thing about if you are recycling chants, it's not that difficult to remember the words.
Yeah.
I suppose you've got to change a few of them.
What if you slip up on the crucial part though, and you say John Duran's name?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to. You know, he's a disgrace to football anyway. After act of violence that got him sent off the other day, and that triggered Cristiano Ronaldo's tantrum. What a pantomime that is!
I know, absolutely bizarre. Yeah, what a massive step up from Villa that is, John Duran. Well done, mate. Right, let's move on to something more important. Prize where it lies. We need another kind of animation for this, don't we? There's been a few comments about it actually, which I really love because you get the podcast, you know that we're probably going to talk about this more so than like Tielemans through ball or something. Forget that. Massive question, says Matthew. What is the money can't buy prize that Liam won? So for anyone who's not aware,
it is? I'm glad you've asked this. I've got some notes here. I've been expecting this question.
Okay, all right. Let's get to that in a sec. For anyone who doesn't know, by the way, what prize where it lies is if you're not familiar. Or let's say you don't go to Villa Park. It's a half-time game. It's not broadcast on TV, so if you don't go, you won't have seen it. Big, massive disc on the pitch, like a big parachute on the floor, divided into segments. Fans, now kids, kick from the byline up to on the halfway line or a little bit nearer. Wherever you land, each segment is a prize, and it's normally like Pride reward points or a club shop voucher or whatever. But there's a centre bit, which is I think it's a Villa badge. Now, I remember years ago when they did this, I don't know, it probably wasn't even called Prize Where It Lies back then. The centre circle used to be a season ticket. And we weren't good at the time. And it used to be a bit like, oh, it's the booby prize. Oh, no, you know what? He's here next year now because he's done that. Like that kind of thing, that gallows humour. This year or today, somebody got it on the centre circle for the first time. And they were like, you're going to win a money can't buy prize. And we're all like, you might be coming on at half time. Like, what is it? And the guy behind me said, it's on me to say, go and do some digging and find out. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll get John Townley to use his minimal press conference questions to ask, what was the prize? What was the prize? Tell me about your notes. Have you done some research? Have you got answers?
Well, I think so. A money can't buy prize. You know what I think it is? I think it's Pride reward points. Because you can't buy them, can you?
A loophole.
You can't buy that. You can't buy Pride reward points. The only way you can get them is get gifted them. So I think it's that. And I thought when they said, "Oh, a money can't buy experience," I thought, well, Chris Heck sitting, you know, in his leather chair, stroking his cat like some Bond villain. He's thinking, yeah, I'll be the judge of whether money can't buy it, because I think we could probably flog this. I'll tell you the other thing that I like about Prize Rate Live.
If you're listening, Chris.
Yeah, God bless him. He's become a panto villain as well. I'm sure he's a lovely fella, bless him.
It's a great running joke for people that don't listen regularly. That every so often we'll just go, if you're listening, Chris Eck, as if he does listen. Maybe he does.
Sure, listen, I'm genuinely sure he's a lovely fella. Why he's had to take my Champions League money out today, the day after the draw was made, and it's payday on Tuesday. Come on, Chris. You know, give me a chance. You know what I mean? But where was I going with this? What was I going to say? I like the new camera from above, because Russ. Have you not seen
for Prize Rate Live? Had a spider cam.
Have you not seen it now? You can see. So the fella today, the young kid today, landed it slap bang in the middle of the centre circle of the disc. So he's got this money can't buy experience. But they've got a camera now. So Russ, the announcer, he's too far away from the disc to understand where it's landed. He can see it because they play it on the big screen now. And it reminded me very much the new setup at Podimore Heath, where you've got the big camera.
Ah, yeah.
I thought they've seen the new Podimore Heath and they've thought, yeah, we're going to follow the market leaders in this. So...
my dad said they'll be making that the size of a dartboard next week because there's too many winners. It's too easy for them. Here we go. I was literally about to guess this as a serious answer, and we've got clarification if it's true from the Funky JJ. Cheers for tuning in, Jacob Ramsey. My guess would be that it's a trip to Bodymore Heath, watch the players train, meet Unai Emery, that kind of thing, especially for kids now. They'll make a nice video of it. I think that's a shooting. The Funky JJ says his mum has posted on Facebook and said that they were told it's a Bodymore Heath experience, so a player meet and greet or lunch with the players or something. So that feels like a good one to me. I think that's a pretty good experience. But you're right, Chris could put a price tag on that, couldn't he? Give it a couple of weeks, you can get to Bodymore and meet the players for the small price of £9,999.
Yeah, it does seem like a premium experience that could earn us top dollar, to be honest. But if you're the lad who's hit the first one and you've got the prize reward points, that's like
in comparison, doesn't it?
You know, when they do like these unboxing videos, when you get something ordered and you don't know what it is, and it could be anything. That's like getting one of them and it just being full of house bricks or something, and it's like such an anticlimax. So his mate, who's all he's done really is knock the ball another 3 yards further. He's, kind of eating chicken and chips out of a basket with Tyrone Mings and Marcus Rashford, and he's just got what like £2 off some
points. Yeah, I know. It's what I said the other day. The last time we spoke about it, absolutely buzzing. People are still here, by the way. I love it. The player, little kid, or however old he was, goes to Bodymore, meets the players. You've done this thing, great experience for him. Don't kind of get this twisted that I'm not happy for the kid, but I don't want to see that. I want to see fat, middle-aged, balding blokes come onto the pitch, slip over. Come on, next one, you have a go, and just keep it going for 15 minutes. I want to see some comedy value. I don't want to see winners. I don't want to see pride reward points given out. I want to see humiliation.
I've told you, mate, don't wait till the sprinklers have gone off before you lay out the mat.
Yeah.
Soak it. Make everybody take their shot from a soaking disc on the centre circle towards the whole end and see how many people can kind of walk away from Villa Park without minor sprains. You'd watch it, wouldn't you?
Can our centre halves get involved in that challenge as well? The try not to get injured challenge? Everyone fails so far.
Yeah, did you have a massive game of Twister on there?
Did you stay till the very end, clap the players off and all that kind of stuff? I assume you did. You're not a leaves early merchant, are you?
No, I'm very much a Remainer, mate.
Okay.
So I tell you what I enjoyed today. Garcia wandered over to
I won't make my point.
Some fans in the Trinity just to the left of the tunnel. And have you ever seen that video where Jude Bellingham, I think it must be all the Real Madrid players, just throw all their bibs like in a really kind of horrible way at one of the backroom staff, and Jude Bellingham comes up and folds his in half and places it gently and thanks, and it's like what a lovely
Hashtag
guy.
classy
What a
touch.
lovely, what a lovely down-to-earth Black Country Stourbridge guy. He's clearly been brought up proper.
Yeah.
So Garcia went over, gave his shirt to somebody, but just as he was giving it to him, he made sure, actually, I've got to turn it the right way round. I'll make sure it's presented nicely here. I think he even signed it for him, stayed for a photograph. I thought, what a lovely kind of guy he is.
Yeah,
what
nice.
a lovely man. How dare John give him a 5 out of that, man?
We'll get to that in a sec to wrap up. The one thing I was going to say, if you stayed to the end, did you see Martinez boot one into the whole end?
Oh, I did, yeah. What was that? Have you seen the clip of Ronaldo have that fit where he just smashes the ball in anger?
Yeah.
Duran sending off.
I reckon it was a reference to that.
It was a bit, I think it was. I think it was a nod to that.
I just like it. We spoke about the ball, didn't we, the other week or the other day? It was about like, how I'm trying to get my hands on one of these retro balls from the 2000s. This remake of the ball. Martinez boots one into the hole and says, "There you go, mate. Go and attack a ball home with you." Why can't that be me? I got Martinez boot on my direction.
I bet Max Stokes caught it. He's probably doing a video about it now. He might have broken his glasses, but I bet he probably got it. There used to be, I'm sure I've said this before. There used to be when Bosnich was there at Villa and the goalkeeping coach called Paul Barron. That used to be their thing at half time. I mean, obviously football's a lot more serious now. They actually train people and they actually warm up properly at half time. But they used to take challenges who could boot the ball into the top of the hole. And so maybe it's a throwback to that. Oh, why did he do it? Where did the ball appear from?
I assume it was just like, let's all go and celebrate. Here's a ball. I'm gonna whack it. Someone take this home as a memento. Is my reading of the situation.
What did you think of the Cole Palmer chance when Martinez slipped and then Palmer slipped just at the right time? I thought that was the one that was going to get us today.
Oh wow, I'm stupid. I was about to say I don't remember any chants about Cole Palmer. Chants.
Oh, chants, yeah, with a
not
NC.
chants. Yeah. Yes. I don't say missed opportunity or whatever the word is, but like a let off a situation of Cole Palmer's not got an assist for a billion games. He's not contributing Chelsea on this terrible run. Oh, up steps Aston Villa. Here we go. That's the story already written. I felt like we got away with a couple of poor chances or poor finishing from Chelsea on different occasions of specifics I can't remember, but times where you think that was close and we've kind of got away with one a little bit. I'm massively distracted now about thinking what chants we were chanting towards Cole Palmer for slipping over, but that was not what you meant.
No, we weren't chanting. We weren't chanting anything. We weren't chanting like, Morgan Rogers is colder than you or whatever we were.
That's good, that is, yeah. Write that down for next time.
We weren't doing that. I'm jumping all over the place now. What I did want to talk about briefly was how many goals we've conceded now. I'm just looking now. So we've conceded 41 goals.
Yeah. It's not actually that more than this time last year.
Is it
not?
not?
About this recently. No. When we brought this up on the podcast at the start of the week, I think it was at this point in the season we conceded 38. So this would be before Liverpool, potentially. Or before Ipswich, I can't remember. And at the same point in last season, it was something like 34 or 35. So goals conceded is only slightly up on last year. It's the goals scored being down by a hell of a lot, which is kind of the problem in terms of goal difference and us winning less games. So, 41 is still bad, obviously, because last year's total was also bad, wasn't it? We conceded so many goals and still got into the top four. I think it was a record or a second place record. Goals conceded is still terrible. It's just comparably to last year is actually not much different.
So we've got the worst for you there. We've got the worst for and against in the top 9 then, apparently. It's interesting, isn't it? Because it doesn't seem like a scoring goals problem, does it? It seems like a conceding goals problem.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? Because, like I said, the goals aren't that much different. I mean, we're giving away a lot of easy goals. We've kind of skirted over the goal we actually conceded as another avoidable one down Matson's side. I've not seen the actual defending in the centre of the box, whether it was the same as the Disasi, Mings, Garcia or Cash. Can't remember. Mix up from the other game, whether it was like, should they deal with it better? But Matson, it's on his side. Should he be stopping the cross? It just feels like we've seen that kind of goal conceded quite a lot, and not very often have we been sat during the game or on a post match or whatever going, there's not much we could have done about that. It's a world class finish. It's this player doing whatever. It's that was avoidable, that was soft, and that's been a problem far too often this year.
Yeah, I've not seen, like I say, I've seen the goal back, but I didn't point the finger of blame. I can't remember. I thought Maatsen probably did get beaten too easily, but again, Neto's a good player. Chelsea are a decent team, you know. I know they're in the midst of a crisis at the moment. I'm not sure he'll still be there next season, Maresca, to be honest.
No, I'm a bit surprised.
But yeah, I think I'm just looking. Sorry, I'm just looking at the table now, and I'm so fickle. I'm just kind of daring to dream again. I know we've played more games than everybody else, but we're just within touching distance again, aren't we?
It's good. It is good to still be in the conversation. Like, you know, this week could have gone very differently. We could have lost to Liverpool and Chelsea, and we'd all be like, okay, well, we thought it was probably going to be really difficult for top 5. It's now not impossible, but next to impossible. To get 4 points from those 2 games definitely keeps us in and around it. Obviously, those clubs have games in hand, but you've only got to scroll through the fixture list and see how many of those sides around us we play, particularly at home. You've only got to see how many of those sides play each other. Tomorrow, Forest play Newcastle. If that's a draw, we've gained 2 points on both of them this weekend. There's a lot of fixtures where teams up and around us are playing each other. Chelsea have got a lot of teams around us. Bournemouth have a couple. We were talking a lot about 68 points. That's the average to get top 5. This time last year, we were on something like 49, and 4th this year is 45, around those figures. So, the season is tracking less points than it was last year. There's a lot of teams vying for the same positions. They're playing each other. Maybe it's not 68 points. Maybe it's 63. And as much as it's like, oh, Villa need to win 8 from 12. Well, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Chelsea probably need to win 7 from 12. Like, they've all got a task to do as well. So I don't want this to be like, oh, top 5's back on now, everybody. Like, we believe again. But it's also, it is good for our sanity's sake to still be involved, I think. Now we play Palace away, Brentford away, Brighton away as our next 3 league fixtures over the course of the next 4 weeks or something with the international break. So I think if we come out the other side of that, still in the conversation, heading into the first week of April, that's a different matter. But as of the 22nd of February, before the teams have played, it's nice just to be like, okay, maybe there's a chance.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know whether I'm mellowing a little bit, but I'm my first kind of Madry in, but I'm really enjoying it this season. And it sounds silly because it's been so stop-start, and so I don't know. I think we've underachieved at times, in these games where we've thrown away points and that kind of stuff. But I just think it's been a fairly enjoyable roller coaster, and we're still involved in 3 fronts at the moment. So no, I'm still pretty excited about it. What did you think about the fireworks? Because I only normally associate fireworks with 2 things: either most importantly Liverpool being in town, or sometimes bonfire night. But mainly Liverpool being in town. I did think it was strange that Villa chose to put that spectacular on tonight.
Well, it wasn't, was it? It wasn't as many fireworks as usual, because they weren't flying off the top of the stadium because it wasn't dark enough, basically. Yeah, we spoke about this a little bit on the preview, because John did a tweet of Arne Slot's post-match comments and got like 1,000 retweets or something stupid. So we touched on it then. It's mad, isn't it? This kind of thing that these big clubs have, of like everything's about them. Spoiler alert, lads, the world doesn't revolve around you. Like if we go to Bruges, when we go to Bruges in a couple of weeks, if they do fireboxes and fireworks and puffs of smoke at the tunnel, I won't be thinking it's because we're here. It's about us. It's a Champions League game. It's them trying to build an atmosphere. That's the same for every team. I don't know where this complex comes from these bigger clubs like an Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, whoever, just kind of go, oh, that must be because of us. I think it's crazy.
Yeah, he went down in my estimation a little bit, to be honest.
Agreed, yeah.
I think he's been a very impressive figure, and I think I heard a bit of the preview, and like John saying, generally he spoke really respectfully of Villa pre-match, and he did in his post-match press generally as well. But there's no need for it. Whether he's feeling the pressure a little bit because they're coming to the business end of the season and trying to create that siege mentality with his own team, but I just thought he lacked a little bit of class. So So he's gone down in my estimation. I'm normally a big advocate for the Baps, bald and prouds. But he can just get he can get stuffed along with Anthony Taylor now. To be honest, he's not in my baldy bestie list anymore. Anyway, so there you go. You've ruined it.
I was wondering, as I'm sure most of the listeners were, where the hell that was going. I thought it was going to be some fireworks related pun of Liverpool season fizzling out or going out with a bang or something like that. But you've turned it on me in the last minute and gone with the Baps instead, because of course you have. Have you got anything else to discuss before I kind of round up and do my outro?
No, I've only just realised how late it is.
Yeah, it's getting on a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 10:05. I just want to chill a little bit now, I think.
Okay, right, fair enough. One thing I wanted to end on just quickly. I wanted to leave this at the end, not to just make a big fuss about it because I don't want it to become a thing. But we spoke on the preview about John Townley's player ratings for Garcia being a 5 out of 10, and that's opened up a little bit of a can of worms that I would like to close the lid on, of inviting people to slag John off, basically, which I don't like. Basically, like, oh, you've got to get rid of John. He's such a waffler. Like, get someone better. Forget all that. Like, firstly, that's not going to happen. A player rating is an opinion on a performance. Like, leave it there. Like, don't make it a bigger thing than it is. He got his score prediction bang. I know this is not the be all and end all, but he's got his score prediction bang on for tonight with a 2-1, and he got the Liverpool one right, 2-2. So there's comments like, "Oh, John doesn't know anything about football," and all these kind of like really stupid takes. Personally, like, and if you've got this far and this was you, like, I am directing this towards a minority here, because I think most people would appreciate the work that John does for us and his stuff on the podcast. And I don't want to twist this into an anti Mat Kendrick thing here, but just because you're here, you're very busy with actual stuff. You're doing this now as it's a Saturday night. You're doing it because you want to do it. You're busy during our normal working hours. That John is more available. We've done something like 200 episodes over the last year. If it's just you and me, we probably do 100 or something. Like, John is available. He wants to do it. He enjoys doing it. So if you're one of the people saying like, "Oh, he's an idiot, get rid of him, he talks crap, he waffles," he likes doing it. We like him doing it. He's very good at it. We do a lot more podcasts because of John. So can we gave Garcia a 5 and now it's the end of the world? Can you just tone it down a bit? And John won't thank me for this. He's not asked me to talk about it. You've not asked me to talk about it. But waking up this morning with comments on my phone about him, it's like, just lay off a little bit. It's getting a bit out of hand. I know it's just a minority, but let's calm down a little bit. I don't know what he's giving Garcia tonight, by the way, but yeah, who knows? That's my little rant over anyway.
Well, Garcia went over and gave him his shirt at the end and folded.
Oh, was that who it was too? Okay, fair enough. I'm sure that's all right then.
Did you just subtly try and divert the John Townley haters towards me instead?
No. I'm valuing how important John is and kind of just letting people know, like, we would do far less without John.
Mate. Like, John, I think that most people understand the good stuff that John brings to the podcast. He's a really good operator. The fact that I've done that job, and I was a lot older than John when I was lucky enough to land the job of covering Villa for the local paper. He's brilliant. He's super fit. He's loving life. He's got the job at exactly the right time. Rapid Vienna twice for me. FFS. Rapid Vienna twice, and he's travelling around the bloody world. It's all, player ratings. It's the one biggest thing. It's one of the things that people read more than ever. But it's also one of the things that, were you at the same game as me? Were you watching the same game as me? That's that's a standard thing. And I think there's a lot of love for John. And what I would say, if he's predicting the results correctly like that, he needs to put some money on it. Do you know what I mean? If he wants to have a baguette when he's in Bruges, just put some money on it. Well, can.
Let's hold on a little bit. That was game week 26 or something, and they're the first correct scorelines of the season. We've not got one right all season, either of us. So we always say, like, if you are a gambling person, forget what we're about to say. But if anyone did pay attention with Liverpool and Chelsea, John's got back-to-back results bang on for the first time. So, yeah, fair play to him. Like I said, I didn't want this to be a thing. I didn't want to open with it. I didn't want to start with it. I just wanted to stick up for him, basically, because I know he won't do it for himself and he'll just crack on and get on with his job. But I don't like people being nasty about people personally, so I just wanted to put my 2 pence in and move on.
Maybe he has been putting. Maybe if it's got to game week 26, maybe he has been putting money on it every week, and maybe that's why he's just eating brown rice and he can't afford a telly.
Yeah,
all
if he
those kind of
turns up
things.
in like swanky new shoes in the office next week, we'll know why, won't we?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let's end it there then. Matt, thank you very much for joining me as always. An hour. Wow, we've hit the hour mark. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you very much for joining us and watching with us live through Saturday evening. 700 people still here at the end after all that chat as well. So thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you've enjoyed it as well. Matt, thank you for joining me. If you've caught this, on YouTube, catch up. You can scroll down to the comments and leave your thoughts there as well. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, there are review and rating systems on there and comment sections as well. So if you're just a listener rather than a watcher, there's ways to get involved as well. We'll be back on Monday with some content potentially from Polymore Heath, a Q&A. So stay tuned to our socials for that, and a post-match for Palace on Tuesday night as well. Would that be you, do you think? Or would it be somebody else?
It probably won't be me.
Okay, that's nice.
I'm too busy. I'm too busy for all this.
Yeah, what a loser. All right, thanks for watching or listening to this episode of the Gambling Podcast. Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.